Hello, Lena. How are you doing? All right, good. So, welcome to our next lesson. Today, we are going to look at primary auxiliary verbs. Now that we understand what verbs are, we are going to step up a little when it comes to verbs. We are looking at primary auxiliary verbs. Now, before we understand primary auxiliary verbs, let's look at what auxiliary verbs are and main verbs are. Then with that understanding, we can also understand primary auxiliary verbs. So if you follow, you need to understand verbs first, and we established that in our previous lesson. This time we need you to understand auxiliary verbs and main verbs. Then with that, we can actually use the primary auxiliary verbs very well. So follow me or come along with me, and then let's see. Now, when we talk about auxiliary verbs, they are verbs that support or help other verbs in a sentence to express an action or a tense. So the key word here is what? Or keywords are support and help. So they will not be part of the action that is supposed to take place in that tense or sentence or action being performed. Let's use this example to understand what I mean by that. For instance, if you take the example 1 here, Kofi has traveled to Accra. In this sentence, we have two verbs. That is, has and traveled. Now, these two verbs, one is an auxiliary verb and the other is a main verb. How do you know the difference? Now, among these two verbs, the verb that indicates action is the main verb. So the one that does not indicate action here becomes auxiliary verb. So it is clear that these two verbs, traveled is an action because someone can perform the action travel by moving. So travel becomes our main verb and has becomes our auxiliary verb. So the whole sentence or action is based on Kofi traveling. Has is just supporting us to create a tense for us to know the time of what? Travel. So that is what auxiliary verbs do. Now, let's look at the second sentence. Kwesi has a blue book. Kwesi has a blue book. Over here, we have only one verb here. That is what? Has. Now, in this case, because there is only one verb, then has here becomes the only main verb here. And in this case, it acts as a state of being verb. We have already established that, so I think you easily understand and follow me on it. So over here to one. So what I'm trying to say is that anytime you see two or more verbs in a sentence following each other, then auxiliary verbs come to mind. So you see in this one, because we have has and travel, then one of them is an auxiliary verb. But in this case, because we have only has, then we take our mind off what auxiliary verbs are. Then we can only consider this one as either being an action verb or a state of being verb. But when there are two verbs or more and they follow each other, like the way right after has, travels come, then we can consider auxiliary end. So for instance, if you look at the next one, Amma washes on Sunday. Over how many verbs? We have only one verb. So you either categorize that verb as a main verb or a state or as an action verb or a state of being what? Verb, because it's only one. So anytime you have only one verb in the sentence, your attention should go to state of being or action. Then let's take the fourth example. Essie is studying psychology at school. So you have two verbs, then S, and then what? Studying. So the moment we have two, then our mind should go to auxiliary verb. Then over here, which one is an action? Studying. Therefore, this one becomes the main verb, and then S is our auxiliary verb. The last example, the boy can play the piano. So can and play. Where it is clear that can indicates what? Action. Therefore, can becomes our main verb. Play here. Note the boy can play the piano. Over here, play here indicates what? Action. So it is clear that play becomes our main verb, and then can is our auxiliary verb, supporting play to express the tense. So basically that is it. So what I'm trying to say here is that for you to understand what auxiliary verbs are, it means that you know that there will be two or more verbs in the sentence and then the one that is not indicating action is the auxiliary verb. And whenever we have only one verb in a sentence, our mind should go to action verbs and state of being or linking verbs. So that is it. I'm going to give you an activity to confirm this. In our next lesson, we'll start with what primary auxiliary verbs are straight up. So I'll see you in our next lesson.